has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio. Larry Sharpe here on the Voice of Liberty in Western New York. So happy that you're with me this afternoon. The number to call in after the first break, 585-346-3000. I have been thinking about a lot of stuff because tomorrow is a big day. I'm going to tell you what that day is in a minute. But prior to that, I was thinking about me as a little kid. When I was a little kid, usually, as I would wake up in the morning to have breakfast, during the week, before I go to school or something like that, most of the time, I'd have some type of sweet cereal, like Fruit Loops or a Captain Crunch or a Frosted Flakes or whatever the thing is. Right? I'd have something like that usually. And if it was like the cool one, I got like a chocolatey one, you put the milk in and it would turn the milk chocolatey, all that kind of cool stuff. But on the weekends, often, my mom would cook, and she'd make a breakfast. Usually on Sundays, she'd make a big breakfast with bacon and eggs and the whole deal. And I remember I was complaining because my dad used to like the bacon with the very thick edges, the big thick rinds on it, and I hated it as a kid. Didn't want that at all. He loved it crunchy and snappy, loved that stuff. And I was like, I don't want that. I was like 6 or 7, however old I was, just complaining. My mom said, okay, you don't want that? You can, instead of having eggs and that bacon that your dad likes, you can have eggs and liver. I'm not joking. So you have eggs and liver. Now, what 6-year-old likes liver? I mean, not many. I mean, maybe there's one out there, but there's not many. Most 6-year-olds are not jumping up and down for liver. So my choice was bacon with the rinds that I hated, didn't want to eat, or liver that I hated. These were not good choices for me. And I had no power. I was like 7 or something. I have no control. I can't change anything. So I just got to pick the worst one, the best of the worst, and move on. Well, guess what? I live in New York City. I'm 7 again. Because now I got a choice between 2 mayors. One of them is His Majesty, or former Majesty, King Cuomo II, second of his name, grabber of butts, banisher of conservatives, killer of the elderly. He is option 1. Now, there are other people on the ballot for a Democratic primary, that is. Actually, 8 more. And the other person who's rocking and rolling is literally a socialist. And when I say literally a socialist, I don't mean how so many people on the right scream and tell everybody, they're all socialists. Anybody who's not a conservative is by default socialist, which of course is not true. But in this case, this guy really is a socialist. Openly says it. He is an active member of the Democratic Socialists of America, a guy named Zohran Mamdani. I interviewed him before a couple years back. I knew he was going to be a player years ago. No one figured this out. I figured this out early on, and that's why I interviewed him back when he was just an assemblyman, hardly known at all. He won't come on my show now, I don't think. He's too much of a big shot. But back then he wasn't. So yeah, I know the guy. He's actually a nice guy. I mean, if you meet him, you would like him. He's a nice guy, and I think he cares about New York. But he's an actual socialist. He wants to decommoditize housing. He wants to put price limits on rent. He wants to put price limits on food. He wants to create government stores that can give out food. I'm not joking. These are all things. He's going to freeze the rent, everything. This is his thing. And he honestly believes this is going to be good for New York. Now, of course, I'm scared of this. So I started thinking, do I want His Majesty back? No. Literally, here's what. Liver and rinds. That's where I am. Again, I get the socialist Socialist or the sociopath? Which one do I get? And here's, of all the things, here's the worst part. Tomorrow is a debate. And about 3 weeks later, there'll be the primary. The primary is the actual election, because New York City is 6-1 Democrat to Republican. Now, don't get me wrong. Curtis Sliwa is running as a Republican. I know Curtis. I like Curtis, right? He's a good guy. He can't win in the city. No shade to him, to be forward. No shade to Sliwa. The city is 6-1. He's not going to win. And also, by the way, Eric Adams, where's he gone? He'll be on the ballot too as an independent. Can he win? Actually, maybe. I'll cover that in a second. But let me talk about tomorrow's debate. 9 people. The other 7, that of the 2 that I mentioned, don't matter, except for another reason, which is the election. So whoever wins the primary, I think it's like June 20-something, whoever wins that will be my mayor. Now, here's the worst part. As I said, I'm not a Democrat, so I can't vote in the primary. So I have no say over my mayor at all. None. The Democrats in New York will decide who rules me. So in reality, I had more control when I was 7 than today. And I'm in my 50s now. I won't tell you what exactly, but I'm going to say 51. It's not 51. Anyway, I'm in my 50s now. So I had more control when I was 7 over my breakfast that my mom was making than I have this. Now, I've got rind versus liver and no say. I'm getting one of them. And that's where I am now. This is where our politics is now. And we wonder, I wonder why. Why are people in New York so unhappy? Why are people giving up? Why are people packing up and moving? Because we have no say in our government. And for those few who do have a say, it's between liver and harsh bacon rinds. That's it. That's the choices that we have. To be clear, there are 8.5 million New Yorkers. New York City. 8.5 million. This is the best we could do. This is the best. Right here. Yeah. That's the best we got. This is how bad this is. It's pork rinds. Not pork rinds. I actually like pork rinds. It's bacon rinds. And actually, I like them now that I'm older. But when I was 7, I didn't. I actually like liver now. I actually eat liver now. But when I was 7, I didn't. Will I grow to like Cuomo? Will I grow to like Mamdani? Will I grow to want a sociopath to rule me? Will I grow to want socialism to put price controls on everything I have? Maybe when I'm 100. Maybe when I'm 100, right? It was 50 years to this. So maybe when I'm 100, assuming I live to be in my hundreds, I'll be like, man, I would love to have socialist rulers control everything that I do. Or boy, I love to have people who murder the elderly be my ruler. But until then, until in my hundreds, I'm going to be unhappy. This is not the right place for us to go. This is not the right place for us to be. Now, there is a little bit of an exception, and that is ranked choice voting. In New York City, for those of you who don't know, we have ranked choice voting here, which means you can now vote your number 1, your number 2, your number 3, number 4, and if your number 1 doesn't win, then your second vote goes into play. I happen to like this very much. I like the idea. It allows for people to have more choices. It allows for people who aren't necessarily on top of the heap to just run away with it. It's possible. It also is only for the primaries. So only the Democrats get it. Think about that. Think about how elitist this city is. They know ranked choice voting is a better way of voting. It's a better way because you get to be both offensive and defensive. What does that mean? Let's say I like the crazy Mike Voss as a conservative. I don't think he can win as a conservative because the Republican's running, and I think the Republican is going to win. Well, in today's normal way, I can't vote for Mike as a conservative. I got to vote for the Republican because if I don't get Mike, I get a crazy Democrat. So I can't do that. But if I have ranked choice voting, I rank Mike as number one. So I get him if everyone else gets him. But if he doesn't win, I rank the Republican as number two. So my vote then goes to Republican. So I'm voting offensively and defensively. Offensively to get the guy I actually want in, and then defensively in case he can't win. That makes total sense. And I don't rank them when I don't want. They don't get any ranking because I don't want them at all. This is a better way of doing things. Now you might go, that sounds great, Larry, but do you have to rank all of them? You don't have to, but you can rank 2 or 3 of them. What does that mean? That means that in theory, Mamdani could beat Cuomo. Why? If Cuomo doesn't get in the election up here, if he doesn't get 50% plus 1, he didn't win. Okay, so anyone, the bottom person, whoever the bottom person is, they're removed, and then all of their second votes are applied. What if all of the second votes of the people who keep getting kicked out, the number 2 votes, are actually Mamdani and not Cuomo? Then Mamdani starts growing. So if only 45% of the people wanted Cuomo, but 55% either wanted Mamdani 1 or 2, Mamdani could come up and win this thing. He might win this. Now, do I think he will? No. I think Cuomo's going to win this thing. But there's a chance for ranked choice voting. What about Eric Adams? Oh, I'll talk about him in a minute. It's Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty here in Western New York. 585-346-3000 is the number. I'll be back with your calls and your chat. I see you after the break.
Tends to be a little more conservative in upstate New York, and I think they don't know me as well.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs, and thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Most banks offer you a choice. Or maybe it would be better to say they demand a choice. Technology so you can bank like you want to, or relationships so you can get advice when you need it. But when you choose to bank with Tompkins, you can have it all. Powerful technology and the power of a face-to-face talk about your future. Because both are part of the best banking relationship you'll ever have. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Open an account today at tompkinsbank.com.
Available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com. Official top quality tees, hoodies depicting the colorful WYSL logo or the already famous Mount Worstmore line of merch depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who is front and center up on that mountain. WYSL official items make perfect gifts, or they're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the voice of liberty.
These extreme conservatives who are right to life, pro-assault weapons, anti-gay, they have no place in the state of New York, because that's not who New Yorkers are.
See, you conservatives? You guys got no place here in New York. See that? Cuomo told you to get out. And then after Cuomo told you to get out, sadly, a bunch of you did. I wish you didn't, but a bunch of you did. And they started leaving left and right. And then Hochul said, oh, you're a conservative? Now, Cuomo just said leave. There's no space for you. Hochul heard, I'm sorry. I apologize, Your Majesty. Queen Kathy, first of her name. She announced that you need to get on a bus and go to Florida. Again, I wish I was making that up. No, she said that. She doesn't want you to leave. She specifically wants you to get on a bus and go to Florida. Cuomo's like, just get out. I don't care where you go. I don't care how. So I guess he's nicer. I'm not really sure. And then, of course, Her Majesty said, if you vote Republican, you are anti-woman and anti-American. Remember that one? So, yeah, I don't know how she's going to get that Republican vote. It's going to be a tough one. So, any case, you might be asking, Larry, that sounds great, what you just said. But I thought New York had a mayor. It does. His name is Eric Adams. Well, what about him, Larry? Is he going to get his butt kicked in his primary? He's not. His team was savvy. His team said, we're about the grift. We're about raising money. And if we run as a Democrat, we'll get our butt kicked in its primary, and then we can't raise money anymore. And that'll suck because we care about the grift. So what we'll do instead is we'll run independent. This way, we can keep raising money. If you get on the ballot, he'll be on the ballot as an independent in November. All the rest of those guys won't be. Well, why can't they run independent? Because New York City has a thing called sore loser laws. What's that mean? That means if you run in a primary and you lose, it's against the law for you to run independently. Now, that's blatantly unconstitutional. It's not even close to constitutional. And our horrible judges went, sounds good to me, because that protects the party system, even though parties aren't in the Constitution and parties are private organizations and the government shouldn't be deciding this, but we're going to anyway. And they did. So sore loser laws are obviously and clearly unconstitutional, and doesn't matter because our judges don't care about that stupid Constitution anyway. We've seen that with our gun laws, so we know this already. Any case, so he'll be able to stay on the ballot until November to raise his money. Now, on top of that, the odds of will he win? No, because there's no ranked choice voting in a general election. Does that make any sense? If there's ranked choice voting in the primary, there should be ranked choice voting for governor. For mayor. Crazy. Anyway, I'm done yapping about that piece. Eric Adams is going to be out there. He's still going to be out there raising money. His hope, of course, is that somehow Cuomo makes a big mistake somehow, and people say, all right, Eric Adams is bad, but he's not Cuomo. That is his hope. And you know what? It could work. It could work. But I'm going to give you something crazy. Larry, would you rather have Mamdani, the socialist who you like personally, or would you rather have Cuomo, the sociopath who you know and don't like? I'm actually torn. And I'll give you both logic on both. Do I think Mamdani could be turned and actually become a very good moral liberty candidate? Yes. And my example, of course, for those who know, is Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell is now one of the best libertarian minds we have in the country. And he used to be a Marxist. Why? Because when he was growing up, the information he had, the experience he had, that made the most sense to him. He's a brilliant guy, but that's the information and education that he had. As he got older and he met people like Milton Friedman, when he went and worked for the government, he was like, okay, I was completely wrong. This is totally wrong. Liberty is the answer. So he turned. I think Mamdani could turn, but not now. Not now. That's years down the road when he sees his failures and he starts talking to me again. I become his Milton Friedman. Maybe. I think he's absolutely turnable because I think he is a good person and I think he is trying to help. He's just wrong. Cuomo, His Majesty, King Cuomo II, actually doesn't care at all. He's a Democrat because that will make him win. He's not actually a socialist. He's a Cuomoist. He would be whatever. He will be a Republican tomorrow, Libertarian tomorrow, Green tomorrow, whatever. Whatever would get him in charge, he's that. He does not care. In a way, that could be a good thing. I know here, some of you are throwing up now. I know, but hear me out. If he actually thinks doing something that's good would get him ahead, he might actually be better. He might be better. We might actually have a better, I'm sorry, that's wrong. We might have a least horrible with Cuomo than Mamdani. We might, if Cuomo wins this thing. So like on a horribleometer, instead of being like a 10, we get like a 9.8. We get that. Mamdani 10. Cuomo might, look, Cuomo could be an 11. But it's a shot. He's like a 9.6. It's possible. So maybe we go down that road. I know it sounds horrible. I know it sounds insanely bad, but that's where we are. And the sad part is that isn't just New York City. That's a lot of places across this country. And we have to start changing things. It is a problem. Let me grab some comments if I could. Kajun says, sitting on a swing by a lake, waiting on Larry. Oh, that's amazing. Guys, thank you for that. I appreciate that tremendously. Mike Voss is watching. He says, can we just say no to both Cuomo and Mamdani? Neither is worthy. Sadly, because of our system, Mike, we can't. And Mike lives in New York City too. So he's stuck like I am. We're both stuck between chopped liver and broken pork rinds. We're both there. But we can't. In reality, there's no way around. The system is set to make this happen. Right? That's the problem. I wish it wasn't. So, yes. Fred says, I have not grown to like socialism. Me either. I have not. I have grown to like liver. Again, 50 more years, Fred. 50 years from now, if you and I are still around, maybe then we will like socialism. Maybe then. I'm not sure. Leela says, you are so screwed. True. You are not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong. Gene says, with star voting, primaries are not necessary. That's true. For those of you who don't know, star voting, approval voting, these are all different types of voting other than just first past the post voting. All of them are nice. I would prefer any of them to our current system. Our current system sets up a dichotomy, a two-party system, and that's how it works. Yeah. She goes on to say, I resent paying for primaries that I'm not allowed to vote in. I don't want open primaries. I want no primaries. Well, this is a really valid point, Gene, and I want to bring this up for those who don't know. Taxpayers pay for primaries. And they might say, well, of course, Larry. No. Here is a ruling by a federal court judge. A federal court judge has said that political parties are private entities. And the judge is correct. And he then says, and therefore, they are not required by law to provide free or fair elections. They can pick their candidates any way they like. That's legal. That came out when Bernie was mad at the Democratic Party, and he sued and said, this is not fair. And the judge said, it's private. They can do what they want. As long as they're following some kind of rules they put up and there's no fraud, do whatever they want. They can make a rule that says the shortest guy in the room on the third Thursday of June is the presidential candidate. Totally legal. As long as it's in writing, and that's their rule, and they're not, no fraud. They pick the shortest guy in the room in June, third Thursday. That's fine. Now, do I have a problem with that? I actually don't. They're right. The problem is what you just said, Gene. If they're private organizations, why are we paying for their primaries? The system they make up to promote their candidates, they should pay for. Now, if we pay for it, and we do, Gene, then we make the rules because we pay for it. And you can't tell me I can't vote in your primary if I'm paying for it. And I am paying for it. Mike and I, we pay for New York City primaries, and we can't vote in them. Utterly unconstitutional. And nobody cares because our judges suck, because they're an embarrassment. They should be stopping this immediately. Either we decide or we don't pay. Gene, you are correct. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Am I nuts? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty here in amazing Western New York. Back with your calls and your chat. I see you after the break.
bless America.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon, Rochester. WLEA WCKR FM Pornell. Canisteo Valley update.
There are, as of now, 167 inmates in the Steuben County Jail in Bath. 25 of them are there because the state refused to take them. They're supposed to be in the state prison system, but Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard says because all these prison workers were fired back in March, the state prison system has been refusing to take in new prisoners. This is a problem at county jails all over the state.
Since the work stoppage in the state prison system, they stopped taking what's called state-ready inmates or convicted felons that are sentenced to state prison time, and they just stopped it cold.
Though the sheriff does say just recently they've started taking about 100 prisoners a week.
They're taking 100 a week, but there's over 2,000 statewide waiting to go.
Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Mainly clear, staying mild in the upper 50s, low 60s on Wednesday. Another day with some hazy sunshine, a little bit of that smoke still up in the sky, but a very warm day. Should get up into the mid and upper 80s for a high and a touch more humid. On Thursday, could be a shower or a thunderstorm. Temps back into the 70s. I'm Rich Cadilia for the Voice of Liberty.
Want a car that's sleek, smart, and packed with tech? Lease the 2025 Honda Accord LX at Ralph Honda. Only $349 a month with zero down payment. Find yours at Ralph Honda. 2025 Honda Accord LX, 36 monthly plus taxes and fees due at signing to qualified buyers. See dealer for details.
Your go-to standard of specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers.
We have a caller, Mike.
Motorcycle and auto, but also
you're welcome.
Policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability insurance. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office, in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. 5-time consecutive winner of the National Best Practices Award. MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates, locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008 or mgminsured.com. An associate of Chautauqua Patrons Insurance, 523 West 3rd Street, Jamestown, New York.
Come on, get up, get going, see the USA, the Myers Way.
See the USA the Myers Way this summer in a pre-enjoyed RV.
The Myers Way.
Now through July 2nd, get huge discounts on over 500 pre-enjoyed RVs in stock.
Myers Way.
With used RVs starting at under $7,000, Myers RV has an RV for every budget. Travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes. Up to 20 years of financing available on certain used models. All Myers pre-owned RVs are New York State inspected and ready for camping. There's a reason why Myers RV is the #1 selling RV dealer in the Northeast.
The Myers Way.
Learn more at myersrvs.com.
See the USA, see the USA, the Myers Way.
Are you new to town and resorting to big box stores and online shopping to revamp your home? Get big city experience and unlimited options at Decorator's Choice in Hornell. We offer the largest selection of flooring in the area with installation. From custom furniture and window treatments to Benjamin Moore paints and products, our design team will create your dream space. Shop your entire sleep system with our split head and traditional mattresses, offering bedding and pillow lines for your best night's sleep. Decorator's Choice has everything you need to revamp your space. Visit our showroom at 37 Seneca Street in Hornell and like us on Facebook.
When you think chicken, think Stearns Poultry Farm Stores. Stearns Poultry Farm Stores with 2 locations, Seneca Street, Hornell, and Route 244 in Alfred Station. Stearns, the best chicken in these parts.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty in Western New York, 585-346-3000. You know, I've been looking at some of the comments, and you guys are picking up what I'm putting down on primaries. Really, we shouldn't be paying for these primaries if we're not able to control these primaries. True. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Mike. Mike, how are you, sir?
Hey, Larry, pretty good. Hey, I would take the Socialist.
Okay, why?
And well, yeah, you know why? Because New York City's going downhill. Anyway, so now I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, no, I would only. I would take the schizophrenic sociopath. Okay.
Really?
Cuomo. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know why? Well, we know. You know what you're getting with Cuomo. You know what? He's a sociopath, but he's also a criminal. Okay.
Yep.
He's motivated money for all of his goombadi. Okay, so I know Roger.
I'm kind of with you on this one, Mike. I got to tell you, if this is where I got to go, right? I got two choices only, right? Do I take the devil I know, which is Cuomo, or do I take the one I don't know? Now, let me go down the other road you just mentioned. If I take an open socialist, I fall back into the days when I had de Blasio. De Blasio was also an open socialist. He was a true believer, an open socialist. He and Cuomo fought because Cuomo is not a true believer. Cuomo is a sociopath and is whatever today he should be is what he is. But de Blasio was a real socialist. So is Mamdani. My city was a disaster under de Blasio. So maybe, to your point, we take Mamdani, the city just goes under and has to rebuild. I mean, maybe you're right on that one too.
Well, exactly. Well, I know Roger would like the Socialist, so and he lives down there. Hey, but I got another question for you. What about the lieutenant governor running against the Queen herself, Kathy Hochul, the first of her name?
You mean her lieutenant governor running against her?
Yeah, in the primary.
Oh, in the primary. Oh, yes. No, to be forward, I do not see anybody beating Kathy Hochul in the primary. If anybody runs against Kathy Hochul, they would do it so they can prep themselves for a senatorial run. So you do a statewide run in a primary against Hochul so you can be more popular for a senatorial run, either to get rid of Schumer, because Schumer may step down. It's possible he won't run again. So you'll be ready for that. So maybe you can fight AOC or someone like that. Or maybe you can beat Gillibrand, someone like that. That's why you run against Hochul in the primary. They can't beat her, but they could raise money and raise name recognition for another run.
I think you're more right the first time. I think it's going to be Schumer. Schumer's at the end of the line for him.
Yeah, he's older. He's less popular. He's already made a ton of money. He's going to get speaking fees. He'll be a kingmaker someplace. He walks away and some younger person steps in and they'll fight Hochul so they can become popular. That's the reason why. So hope that answers your question.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, my friend. So look, I do not think Hochul is beatable in a Democratic primary. As unpopular as she is within the state, and she is unpopular across the state. She is one of the least popular governors across the country. She's in the bottom 5. She's not very popular. When I measure her against other governors and how their states are happy with their governors, she's in the bottom 5. But within the Democratic establishment, she's still number 1. So she'll still win the primary. And at the moment, she'll still win the governorship. The question is, who do the Republicans put up? And how much money can they raise? If the Republicans put up a decent candidate and raise some cash, they got a shot. If not, they got no shot. If they do what they've done in the past, which is, hey, who wants to run and raise some money and take a L against Democrats? Oh, you? Okay. They're going to lose. And sadly, they might do that. And that's what I'm concerned about. So Patty asked a question kind of off topic. She says, Lara, will you look into the AI bill before Congress that states for the next 10 years that they're not allowed to regulate or prohibit anything to do with AI? It's in the big, beautiful bill. The reason behind that, just so you're aware, Patty, is there are a lot of people in our elites establishment that are afraid that the Chinese are going to pass us and devastate us when it comes to AI, and that local, to be forward, it'll be Democrats. Local Democrats will be afraid of AI and will try to regulate it out of existence. That's what they're afraid of. And they're afraid that, like, California will do it, which absolutely will happen. That New York will do it, which is already about to happen. So that they'll do those types of things. And then that will cripple our growth of AI in America, because larger states will have separate regulations. You won't be able to do stuff in those. You won't be able to use the colleges in there and those types of things. And they'll go to other countries. And they'll either have to go to Canada or Switzerland or something, or they'll just give up. And then the Chinese will win. And the worst part is all the Chinese engineers won't come here. So the good Chinese engineers will stay in China because there's no shot of doing it here. That's their worry. That's why that exists. They believe that AI is going to dominate the world, and whichever nation state has the strongest AI, they will dominate the globe. That is why that exists. I hope at least I answered your question. So yeah, thank you for asking that. I'll keep going. Mike says, they are both trying to buy votes, Cuomo and Mamdani, using the offer of $20 or $30 minimum wage to convince low-info voters. It will make the poor even more poor and increase unemployment. Here's the issue, Mike, with that. As I say always, desperate people do desperate things. And if you're desperate for some extra cash, and here comes some guy saying, hey, I'll give you more money, you're more apt to go, okay. Mike, have you happened to have seen Mamdani's new commercials? One of his commercials is literally him walking around New York City saying, I'm going to freeze the rent. That's the commercial. And then people on the street going, hey, that guy's going to freeze the rent? What? That guy's going to freeze the rent? Freeze the rent? Oh my God. That's the commercial. And him going, oh, yeah, I'm going to freeze the rent. That's the commercial. So I think you're right. And it might work. You're saying low info voters. I'm saying a whole lot of voters. He's going to say, I'm going to give you my money and I'm going to freeze your rent. I'm going to freeze your rent. I mean, it probably will be free at one point also. I'm going to freeze your rent. Now, you and I both know, initially, that is a good idea. Like, immediately, there will be an immediate glory because I will make more money immediately and my rent will go up, won't go up immediately. But you and I also know that within 1 year, that collapses because all of a sudden now everything else is more expensive. I have less hours. I actually wind up making less money, and inflation goes, everything goes up with inflation. So yeah, and my landlord decides I'm freezing the rent. I'm not fixing anything. Nothing. You used to have heat. So you know what? You absolutely have lower rent and no heat. Good luck with that. That's what winds up happening. We see it everywhere. So am I trying to buy the first 3 months so people can think that I'm great? Yeah. And then you know what I'll do? Mike, you know the game already. Here's what happens. I promise you everything, and it doesn't work. I'll just blame Trump. It's Trump's fault. See? I lowered your rent. I gave you my money. And then Trump did his thing, whatever he did. And that's the reason why everything sucks. See that? If you just give me more socialism, then it'll be great. Just a little more power, Mike. Just give me a little more freedom, and then we're good. That's how that works. So yes, that's an interesting piece, and I appreciate you bringing that up. So Mike says, what if you only have one choice? Yeah, when it comes to ranked choice voting, you can do what's called bullet voting, which means you only vote for one person. You've decided that there's only one person you want, the rest you don't want. You vote for one person. You can do that if you want to, and some people do. And the problem is in certain areas where they have ranked choice voting is people actually ask their people to vote only for one person. And that's old school thinking. Mamdani is not doing that. He's being very savvy. He is trying to create an anti-Cuomo coalition. So what he's saying is, these other people are awesome too. If you want to vote for them first, do it. Just make me your number 2. So vote for whomever, Scott Stringer, because you like him. I don't know why anyone likes him, but whatever. You like him. Maybe he's like your cousin or something. So you vote because you like your cousin. So you vote for him. So you vote Stringer first, and you vote for Mamdani second. If Cuomo doesn't get 50% plus 1 in the first round, all those votes start to move towards Mamdani. Now, the good part about this, here's the good part about this, is ranked choice voting allows people to not do negative campaigning. You don't have to. You can say, hey, these other guys are good too. I think I'm better, but they're good too. Vote for them first, vote for me second. And if you get it, you get it. If not, you don't. So there are some advantages to ranked choice voting, which is why I like it. I'm a big fan. I mean, maybe I will do a full show just on that. But I think ranked choice voting is a pretty good deal. Liberty Lady says ranked choice voting is frowned upon by the big 2, which by default makes it good. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. 100% like that one. Guys, do you think ranked voting is a good idea? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty in Western New York. Back with your calls and your texts after the break.
Donald Trump and conservatives may have won, but you know the left will unceasingly try to undermine society and spread evil, targeting the innocent and God-fearing, especially our children. Help promote a truth-based society and try something different in 2025. The WYSL stations can grow your business, professional practice, or organization, so allocate your ad dollars here. Reach our huge audience, entertained, inspired, and informed by leading conservative thought. Affordable, effective. The WYSL stations, the voice of liberty. Call 585-346-3000 to advertise.
I'm Greece Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Joe Robach. If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber. We are the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we are better together, and together we can move your business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today. You'll be glad you did.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop specializing in pre-owned firearms and repairs. Get your rifle, shotgun, or pistol serviced and tuned before you take it to the field. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Avon Gun, East Main Street, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Sharpe Way Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty. So happy you're giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. Thank you so much. So many comments. I want to grab some of these comments. Mike is mad at me. He says minimum wage does not increase pay. I'm not saying you're wrong, but initially it does. In the first 3 months, give or take, depends on how long it takes the market to react to it. Initially it does. You get an initial pump. You see it everywhere, right? Because business doesn't immediately react. It takes X number of months for it to react. The market, it takes X amount of months to react. So you get an initial boost, then it collapses. So yeah, that was my point. My point
Roger.
It works overall. It doesn't work overall. But short term, it does. You get an initial boost, then it collapses after the market decides to fix things. So absolutely. So let me grab a call if I could. This is Roger. How are you, sir?
Good. So
I have a feeling you're going to tell me you don't like parties.
You saw my thing.
I just know you, Roger.
I also liked liver when my mom didn't tell me that it was an organ until I had 5th grade biology class. And I was like, what?
See, you're one of those
So
kids. I know some kids actually like liver, but most kids don't.
So anyway, I remember meeting Mamdani and giving him a fist bump back in 2020, 2021 when I went to Albany, when I was up there for some protest a few years ago, when I still had hope for the Democrat Party in the state. I'm all for the decommodified housing. However, like you said, New York City mayor is the least powerful mayor in the country because they got to get permission from the state and the federal government. So I guess it's really just a managerial position.
That's the issue, right? He's going to push for things. But the second thing is, if you're going to decommoditize housing, which I'm not for, but if you're going to, you have to change the entire system. If the entire system changes, you could do it. It's possible. But just deciding it, nothing but disaster. There has to be a systemic change.
Yeah, I'm all for a change in the system. You know that. I'm guessing that the local streets, like the free bridges and tunnels, belong to the city, correct?
No. What they do and they don't.
Really?
The problem is they do and they don't.
I mean the residential streets.
Yes, they do. They do, yes. But the bridges are in between counties. Because of that, the state can always step in. And then those that go across into Jersey, the federal government can step in.
Right. I was just talking about the BMW bridges and those Harlem Bronx bridges, pretty much is what I was talking about.
Yeah, but those cross counties. Those cross
I hear
counties,
you,
so
I
a
hear you.
state can step in. Yep.
Got it. So here's the thing. Cynthia Nixon ran on, what do you call that thing? Infrastructure.
Another call on hold.
I mean, everybody hates the infrastructure. I don't live in New York City, but I drive there. And the outskirts of the city, Rosedale and what do you call that? Queens Village? The roads are terrible. It's like forgotten. So,
100%.
you know, that's something that anybody running for mayor or governor should be talking about that.
But they know they can't fix them because it's too expensive. They'll never fix them. That's why. They know they won't. The system is already broken. It's unfixable. Can you make a declaration? Yes.
Keith.
As mayor you can. So they do. So I appreciate the call, Raj. I got to grab another call. Let me grab another call if I could.
Keith.
This is Keith. Keith, how are you?
Well, without going off message,
Look at your phone, too.
Show you mentioned June 4th. Everyone should know that tomorrow's date, June 4th, 1942, was the Battle of Midway, which changed the war in the Pacific.
Sure.
Five-day battle, but the 4th of June was the main day. 4 Japanese aircraft carriers were sunk. During the battle, we lost one carrier, the Yorktown. But I wanted to ask, in closing here, what were the men who were sacrificed? Because we lost several squadrons during the Battle of Midway 83 years ago. All of the machinations of today's politics, and you using words like sociopath. I'd like everyone in the audience to wonder if these men died, and then thinking 83 years later that what they died for in modern America, if these men might think they died for nothing. And I'm just wondering, without being sappy about it, but we did lose men at Midway, and then the battle before that, the Battle of the Coral Sea. In closing, these men died to keep our country free, and I'm just wondering, 83 years later, if they're in the afterlife, if they're rolling their eyes that modern-day sociopaths are ruling our country and what people would make of that. I just thought I'd throw that in.
There's a couple of things I want to bring up with that. Number one, sadly, we've lost most of our World War II veterans. We've actually lost all of our World War I veterans. The last one who was alive was a British citizen. He was over 100. He passed away a couple years ago. That was the last veteran of World War I on the planet. They're all gone now. Most of the World War II veterans are gone. We're losing every year. We're losing hundreds of them, and eventually they will all be gone also. So the one advantage, Keith, is most of them can't see it. Most of them will not see what's happening now, and will just see the heyday of America, which was the 30 years after the war, right? That was the heyday of America. Most of them saw that and experienced that. Most of them were able to provide for 30 years of prosperity in America. So I think most of them would have been satisfied with at least that. Now, we're at a turning point. You can see it. We have a choice. Will we make shifts and adjustments to fix this nation, or will we stay in this permanent state of decay that we've had for at least 25 years, if not longer, but just years and years of decay? I don't know. I keep talking the talk. I keep trying to get things to change because I want to turn us around. The Chinese think that it is normal for nations to kind of fall and then reform. I hope they're right, and I hope we can reform. Thanks for the call, Keith. So Keith often brings up the past and the sacrifices that people have made. And I get it. I'm a veteran. I've heard the stories. I feel like I'm part of that storyline. My father was a veteran. My grandparents, veterans. So I do understand that concept. I don't think my kids are going to be veterans, but maybe. My daughter is a first responder, so maybe. I don't know. But I do get it completely, and we want to make change. So, yeah. Mike says, Elise Stefanik will be the Republican governor for choice. Well, she's made a statement talking about Delgado, who's now going to be challenging Hochul, which is fine, right? I mean, Delgado, Nick says, he says, are you predicting that AOC might run for governor in order to have a state run it statewide? That's a scary thought. I might have thought that if it wasn't for her running with Bernie. She's out there running with Bernie. That's how she's raising her profile and her money. Well, Delgado is not a national figure like AOC is. So Delgado will have to run for governor to bring up his money and to make himself more popular so that he could run for something. He might challenge AOC for Schumer's seat. It's possible. There could be a 3 or 4 way, race for that seat. It's possible. I can see that. I don't think AOC will run for governor. I mean, she might. I don't see it. I think she'll run for senator. She already has a national platform. She's already got Bernie. Delgado doesn't have that. And I think that's a big difference. So, yeah. Valerie says, good show, Larry. You have a real pulse on this governor race. To be forward, I have a lot. I know the state very well. I'm out here all the time. I meet people all the time. I talk about this stuff. I care about this stuff. So, yes, that's why I pay attention, right? When I see what's happening, I say it. I do my best to kind of figure this out so that we can do this. That's my whole point. So, yes. That Liberty Lady says, do any of these New York politicians own investment properties when it comes to rent controls? They should write that into the law. Nice. To be exempt. I don't think so. It's all commercial. That's what they do, Liberty Lady. They got to make their cash somehow. That's for sure. Maybe that's a good way to end the show. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.